welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my TBR for the Reading Rush, which I believe is happening from the 20th to the 26th of July. So yeah, I made this TBR before I found out I would be going back to work this week, so it's a little ambitious, but we're just gonna hope for the best. So I'm gonna be reading the challenges off of my phone, so if you see me looking down, that is why. So the first reading challenge is to read a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone. So I was born in September, so my birthstone is a sapphire, which I feel like they can kind of range in shade from being like a really dark blue that it's almost black to being a lighter shade of blue that's kind of like the sky when it's about to storm out. I gave myself the option of a couple different shades of blue, and I just had to find a cover that fit one of them, and I unfortunately landed on The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, which is over 500 pages, like almost 550. So this is just not the kind of book that you would generally read in a readathon. However, it does cover quite a few challenges, so maybe there's still hope that I can read the entirety of this in a week. We will see, but it definitely kind of matches the color of my birthstone, and I also felt like it was fate because that's my name right there on the cover. In case you don't know what this is about, this is a historical fiction novel that is set in Paris during World War II, and we're following two sisters. Other than that, I don't know what it's about. Challenge 2 is to read a book that starts with the word the, so I'm going to double up and use this again because obviously it's The Nightingale. Challenge 3 is to read a book that inspired a movie you've already seen, and I was kind of freaking out about this challenge because literally the only books I could think of were The Lord of the Rings, which aren't good for a readathon, but then again neither is The Nightingale, and yet here we are. And then the other book I could think of was The Host by Stephanie Meyer, which again, just isn't good for a readathon. So I was a bit concerned about what book I was going to read, and then one day I was just scrolling through my Overdrive app and I came across the audiobook for Beautiful Boy by David Sheff, I believe is the name of the author, and this is a non-fiction book, and it's told, David Sheff is a father whose son went through a really bad drug addiction problem, and I don't know exactly what this book is going to entail, but I think it's just kind of like their story from the dad's perspective. I think Nick Sheff, who is the son, wrote a book also, but this is the dad's book. And yeah, this was turned into a film, which I had already seen, which is also called Beautiful Boy, and it has Steve Carell and Timothée Chalamet in it, and it is a great movie. I watched it on Amazon Prime for free, so if you have Amazon Prime, or you know somebody who does, because I don't have it, I just borrowed it from somebody else, I would totally recommend watching it because it was a really, really good film, but obviously trigger warning for like drug abuse and all of that stuff. So yeah, I will be listening to the audiobook for this challenge. Challenge 4 we're actually going to skip over for now, and then we will wrap back around to it at the end of this video. Challenge 5 is to read a book completely outside your house. I don't know exactly what I'm going to read for this yet. We'll just see what happens at the time because I don't really know how much time I'm going to have to actually be outside, because if I'm working all day, I don't really get home until like after 7, almost 8, in which it's not really a good time to be outside. So we'll see what I'll do for this challenge when the time comes to it. Challenge 6 is to read a book in a genre you've always wanted to read more of, and I have two possible books that I can double up this challenge with. The first one is Beautiful Boy because it's nonfiction, and I always want to be reading more nonfiction, and then I could also use The Nightingale for this challenge because I don't read a lot of historical fiction, and I also don't read a lot of World War historical fiction specifically, but I do want to read more of it because I never thought I'd liked World War historical fiction until I read The Book Thief, and I realized that I don't really think it matters. I think I can enjoy any kind of historical fiction so long as I like the story and the characters, so I want to read more of it. Thusly, this also works for this challenge. And then finally, challenge 7 is to read a book that takes place on a different continent than where you live. So again, I'll be doubling up with The Nightingale since this takes place in Paris, which is in Europe, which is not where I live. So yeah, like I said earlier, we're going to wrap back around to challenge 4, which is to read the first book that you touch. I've seen people do this a couple of different ways where they close their eyes, they have a stack of books, and they touch one, whichever the first one that they touch is what they read, or I've seen them throw books all over the floor and reach for one. The first one that they touch is the one that they read. The way I'm going to do it is I picked out a couple of my shorter books. I don't have a lot of short books, so I have a very short stack of books here, and I'm just going to hold them here. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to point to one, the first one that I Jedi touch is going to be the one that I read for this challenge. So just to take you through the books quickly, for our choices, we have Champions of the Force, which is volume 3 of the Jedi Academy trilogy. We have A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. I've actually read this book already, but I've been in the mood to just bawl my eyes out for some reason, so I thought maybe I'd give it a reread. Then we've got The Princess, the Scoundrel, and the Farm Boy by Alexandra Bracken. This is a New Hope Star Wars story. And then we have Conceal, Don't Feel by Jen Kalanita. This is a book in the Twisted Tales series. This is about Anna and Elsa, obviously. Alright, so I'm going to hold the books up. This is going to be really silly and stupid, but here we go. I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to point to one. Are you ready? This one. A Walk to Remember it is. Looks like I'll be bawling my eyes out in my reading vlog. So in conclusion, I am only reading 3 books for the readathon, which doesn't seem like a lot, but this is over 500 pages, and I also don't actually know how long Beautiful Boy is. I don't imagine that it's that long, and it's an audiobook, so it'll probably be a bit easier, but still, it's kind of ambitious considering I'll be going back to work full-time again, so we'll just see how it goes. Wish me luck. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you plan to read if you are also participating in the reading rush. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
You hear that, Samson?